I'm ready. I'm ready to hear what some people got to say. Kenny Bug, hey, hey, got you in. It says Yuki. Says Yuki. So let's get it in. What you got to say, brother, man? What's up? What's popping?
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I got you loud and clear, man. Well, I got you clear. How loud you are might be different, but what you got going on, man? How you doing?
All right, so I have a couple of things to say about just purely Yuki. I don't really care about the rest.
Okay.
So first, I want to start with Liam Lawson. Um, if anybody remember, his high school already posted a post that he was a Red Bull driver before it was even announced that he was even a RB junior driver. So
Damn.
that plan was already made for him to be the second driver. So
Okay.
that's the first. So that's why when people are upset, don't be like the plan was already made. It was privilege, like you said earlier. It is
Okay.
privilege. It's not skills. And then two, Horner, like Christian Horner, he already said that Yuki's not an RB driver at all.
You.
Yuki's a Honda driver. And if
All right.
anybody listened to his recent interview, what did he say about Yuki for the 2025 season? He said
Oh.
this is the season that Yuki needs to either prove that he's a RB driver, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
or he's going to leave the Red Bull program. Because who's leaving the Red Bull in 2025?
Honda.
Honda. And where's Honda going?
Aston.
And that's where Yuki might be.
Oh, okay. Do you got some more to add? Because I got a question for you if you
Sure.
don't. Okay,
No,
so
no, no.
let me ask you this. What does it do for what? Not necessarily what does it do. We know what it'll do, but do you see a fair opportunity, knowing that we've kind of seen the dynamic at Aston Martin with Felipe Drugovich, a very good driver, especially in F2, champion, not even getting an opportunity really to fully perform at F1 in that seat because Lance Stroll and the nepotism situation, in my opinion. What do you see for Yuki if he actually ends up at Aston Martin?
So, two things might happen. So,
Okay.
the first thing might be that Alonso might not be there in 2026.
Okay.
But I mostly think the son might not be there in 2026. Simply
Whoa,
because he himself already said that he's falling out of love with F1.
that is true. That was
So
reported.
I think like when Honda came in, it just might give them the best out to be like, hey, look, you don't want to be here no more. Take some time off. You never know. You might come back in. He might come back in for Alonso in the future. We
Okay.
don't know. So like that we might answer to that question. And
Okay.
then also for like Austin Martin, like I don't know if they would be good to give Yuki a chance to win. You know what I mean? Like the evidence is not there yet.
That's true.
But I do know one thing. Red Bull in the 2026 season, I don't then again Christian Horner is a lie, so I wouldn't take anything he says. Like he said that they're having a hard time with the
Right.
engine, but like I said, I don't know if you want to believe him or not.
Right. Right. Take it with
So
a grain of salt.
yeah, so like Yuki might Yuki might do a Lewis and be like, all right, cool, I'm bouncing. And then you never know, like Austin Martin with the Honda, with the technical team that they have, like all new facilities, they might actually be up there. Would they be challenging? I don't know, because it depends what Mercedes says. And
Okay.
again, Toto's another liar, so I take what he said with assault, grain of salt as well. So
True.
the only person that I will believe is probably Ferrari,
Okay.
because Fred doesn't look like he's much of a
I'll give you that.
straight
Fred
liar.
seems pretty legit. Yeah, Fred seems pretty. And what I do like about Fred is if before he offers up, in my opinion, especially seeing, I don't know if I mean, you can go back years and years and maybe you find one instance, but Fred, instead of telling you something that's not accurate or true, he's just
Mhm.
gonna tell you, I'm not finna talk about it. We're
Yeah,
not finna
he's
talk
a
about this.
yeah, he's a businessman. Like
Right.
he would just, or sometimes he would just look at you and smile.
Right. Right.
Like
That's
he's a
true.
businessman.
That's
Like
true.
like that's what you're supposed to do in business. When somebody bring up a question that you don't want to answer, you could say we're not going to talk about it, or you could just smile at them and just nod.
It's just not right.
Yeah,
Right. Hey man, big shout out, man. Hey, don't forget, hey, call in again. We're gonna give Kenny Bugs a chance, brother. I really appreciate you calling in and getting
yeah, no
active
problem.
every 1 minute, man.
I probably if it's about Yuki, I'll call in again. If not,
Yeah,
I
if
probably
you come up with something else you want to say about Yuki, bro, call in again. That's what we're here for.
nah. I already hit my points.
Okay,
Right.
I got you.
So yeah,
Appreciate you,
I'll get
brother.
to the rest.
All right.
Bye.
Big shout out. Hey, man, I think that's his first time calling in. We got Kenny Buzz coming to the stage next. But Lord Chaos, Matt, who I was talking about earlier, my fam, my bro. like I said, might be some things in the works for Matt. If those things do come into reality and action, hey, we're gonna support that. We're gonna sub to that. We're gonna look out for that. Big shout out to Matt. Lord Chaos says, Happy holidays, Wolfpack fam. Give Yuki a chance. Kenny Bugs is coming to the stage. My brother, Kenny Bugs, what's popping, bro?
Hey, how's it going, Jay?
Man, it's
Merry
going all right,
Christmas,
man.
everybody.
Merry Christmas to you too, brother.
What
What
was
you
up
got?
with what was up with the software?
Man, bro, sometimes, man, it just acts crazy. It's really funny. All I did was stop it and then start it again. I literally just stopped it and started it again, man. So sometimes you just technical difficulties, dumb shit, it just happens.
That's cool. That's cool.
I'm glad I worked it out with having to shut the whole YouTube down though, because I was gonna be pissed about that, bro.
Can't say I
What you
blame
got
you
for me,
there.
brother, man?
Hey, listen, people need to understand what's going on with the whole Honda thing and Aston Martin.
Okay.
That all really came from what happened when with Honda and McLaren. McLaren was so disappointed at the performance that they were getting with Honda, and Honda knew they really dropped the ball. They had a pretty balanced deal between each other. So, because of the way McLaren separated from Honda, Red Bull came in and saved the Honda engine program by letting them in and on on the second team.
Right.
But Red Bull, you got to remember Christian Horner's a shrewd businessman. They had Honda in a really jacked up deal,
Mm.
and that's why Honda said we're leaving Formula One again,
Because
even
at that
after
point,
winning.
Red Bull was running Renault, right? Were they running Renault before when they were giving the junior team a chance at Honda? Were they still running
Yeah,
Renault
they
at
were
that
still
point?
running
Okay.
Renault.
All right.
Red Bull was still running Renault, and then they gave Toro Rosso
The Honda.
the Honda, and they saw signs of it improving. So then they brought it to Red Bull. By the time they brought it to Red Bull, it had really jacked up because they changed the way they were born the blockheads. But the deal that Honda had with Red Bull was so disadvantageous to Honda that they had to get out of it.
Mm.
That's why they backed out of Formula One again, even after being successful with Red Bull. So when once they got out of that deal, and it really cost them to get out of that deal, they had to give up their IP for that engine to Red Bull. So they got screwed royal. So that's why when Lawrence Stroll stepped in and pulled Honda back into his side, Red Bull was kind of pissed because they was like, "Look, if we knew you were going to stay, we would have, we would have kept you."
Right.
Well, the thing
Right.
is, Honda didn't want you
Honda
because
didn't want you, right?
you were screwing them left and right money wise.
Right.
The deal was just so screwy, and the only real advantage they got out of that deal was Yuki.
Mm.
So, looking at it from Christian Horner's point of view, Christian Horner's like a ex girlfriend who's jaded. You know, you piss him off. That's how petty. Christian is the most petty
Right.
dude on the him. Well, if you wondering where Max got his pettiness from,
Right. 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 King Petty.
they equally petty. They equally petty. So uh, Yuki never really had a chance. So yeah, Yuki came in with some issues. His swearing, his attitudes,
Right. Right.
always losing his cool, stuff like that. He wasn't fit, all kinds of things.
Yep. That too.
All those problems, and worked hard to get himself in a position where he deserved a shot at that Red Bull seed. And the old man, what's his name?
Helmet Marco.
Helmut Marko. His contract says he's the one who handles the young drivers. Okay, but he doesn't get final say over which drivers move up, even though he's the principal person,
Hmm.
you know, in charge of, doing all of that. And this is again Christian Horner's way of making his power play. He was trying to push him out because he wanted that part ownership of the company. And that's still to be decided whether that's going to happen or not. I don't think that deal's going to happen,
Okay.
but he's still being petty with Marco.
He is. He is.
And that I think that plays a big part in why Yuki is not the one that got the chance because Marco wanted Yuki to get the first chance at the see because the bottom line issue is with the whole junior program, we can move drivers in and out at a rapid pace. And they
Right.
always have.
Right.
And Marco kept saying, look, this is what this is all about, for moving through drivers and finding the best. That's how we found Max. But Christian, uh, nah, I ain't gonna say that. Christian, hey,
Right. I feel you.
hey, Christian's a man.
I
Yeah,
feel you.
hot mess.
Yeah.
He's a hot mess. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that played the big part in why Yuki did not get that seat. Yuki has to be careful
Okay.
because with Aston Martin, Lauren, Lauren Stroll is dedicated to his son. Okay,
Yes, he is.
and Alonso's not leaving till 20 to at least the 2026 season because he wants to drive an Adrian Newey car.
Right.
He wants to give himself a chance at another world championship.
True.
Lawrence is not gonna ask Alonso to leave because that's where his bread is buttered. They wouldn't have gotten fifth place if it wasn't for him.
If it wasn't for him. Right.
Okay, so that's not gonna happen. So Yuki has to be careful. Yeah, Honda's got some play there, and Lawrence might be able to squeeze him in to satisfy Honda, but he might not.
Yeah. I don't
He
know.
might not be able to.
Yeah.
I mean, you tell me how you see it happening.
That's how I agree with you. I don't know if Lawrence. This is how I feel. If Lawrence Stroll is willing enough to tie one arm behind his entire team's back just to keep his son playing around in Formula One, I don't see Honda coming in and making that change to the point where it's going to be an effective long-term change. I just don't see him doing it. If he's not willing to do it now for the sake of Aston Martin progressing up the constructors board, I don't see him doing it for Honda, especially
Well,
if he gets the engine in the car and he can try to justify that Lance is doing better than he did last year, so we're looking good at that. You got Felipe Drugovich in the wing. If that was the case, you should have been gave that brother a chance. I mean, he an F2 champion right off the back. So if you wasn't going to give Felipe a chance, I don't see that really happening besides for what we already kind of saw. And Lawrence might be a little bit more generous with the favor for Honda, but I don't think that's going to be a long-term situation unless like we talked about, Lance bounces out or Alonso bounces out post his time of driving an Adrian Newey car. That's how I see it, bro.
well, we already know that we have a record number of rookie drivers coming in next year
Yeah,
because young drivers can adapt to the new cars faster than the old ones can. The old ones have old habits that they have to break or adapt.
and they being bred
But
in this.
the old drivers have the experience to be able to diagnose problems with the car,
Hmm.
give feedback to the engineers and stuff like that. So, that being said, Yuki's gone through all of that. He's young enough and he's
He is.
beaten his teammates in qualifying. So,
And season in points.
it just
Yeah,
makes sense to give him the next shot. But,
right.
um,
I got you, Racer X. I see you, brother. I see you.
I mean, he might want to stay where he's at and wait, but
Okay.
keep his options open, but keep his mouth shut.
Okay. Kenny Bugs might need to be Yuki's manager because that is some good advice at this point in time, the way it is. Kenny Bugs, brother, sit tight. We're going to get Racer X up. I want to bring you back again, bro.
All right.
All right, Racer X210 is coming to the stage, and then we got Wildcat, Racer X210, Mr. Ferrari himself. What you got to say, my brother? I knew it. I knew it. I knew he was gonna have the damn Ferrari giddy up on. Let's go.
All right. So piggybacking off what Kenny B just
Turn
said.
your mic up a little bit.
Um,
I'll bring it closer.
oh, so let me move closer.
There
All
you
right, can
go.
you hear me? A lot better.
Yeah, I can hear you a bit better now.
So piggybacking off what Kenny B just said, I would do what he just said. Yuki staying at V card for now,
Okay.
but while there, display you deserve to be moved up.
Okay.
I mean, throughout the entire season, I'm talking consistent top tens, top fives, podiums. Doing that will help him cement his footing to get into a higher caliber team. And by doing so, when he gets that shot, let's say he goes to Aston Martin, he takes Lance Stroll or Alonso's seat. Let's say he takes Alonso's seat,
Okay.
and he starts beating Red Bull. That's gonna show, a Red Bull, you passed up on a good opportunity, and I'm
True.
kicking ass to show you. So I can back that. I will back
Okay.
that 100% if he can pull it off.
Right.
Now we're going to Ferrari. A lot of people are been skeptical about the whole new redesign of the SF25. We have to remember that the previous TP Tifosi, I don't know his whole name, but they built the car to balance out Leclerc and Sainz's driving style as best they could to stay competitive. Now that Sainz is gone, Hamilton and Leclerc share the same similar driving style of sitting more towards the back. Some people
Mm.
think it's a gamble that won't work. I'm I'm up in the air about it. I hope it works because they share the same style. And when two
Okay.
drivers share the same similar style, you don't have to make so many adjustments to the car to make both of your drivers competitive. They can both
Gotcha.
give you the same feedback on a we should change the diffuser, we should change the beam wing, we should change the suspension. Let's move the side pods. You know, when two drivers are on that same wavelength, and you have a veteran now teaching the ways to the young racer of that team, that young racer can take that knowledge, and I hope Leclerc does, unlike Russell, and then become a champion. And if Leclerc can do that and bring Ferrari multiple championships along with Hamilton, that's gonna just cement it even more for the Ferrari team. It's gonna show that Fred Vasseur knew what he was doing. Charles Leclerc was able to put his ego aside and learn from a champion to become great himself, and Ferrari is now back on the top pedestal.
All right.
Some people don't think it's a good idea, but I'm willing to roll with it. You got a seasoned veteran coming to the team, so why not take that advice while you can?
That's a fact. That is a fact, man. And I like, man. How many Ferrari shirts do you have?
Right now I'm on two, but I plan to get a jacket, a sweatshirt, a tank top, and more.
Damn. All right, my brother. I appreciate you, man. Make sure
Yes,
you call
sir.
back in. Damn, he gonna
I'll
get
shoot.
a whole closet full of Ferrari gear. That's what I'm talking about. Wildcat, our brother who won our last grudge race, racing out of his mind, is coming to the stage. Wildcat, what's popping, bro?
Well, first off, last two. Let's get that
That
straight.
is that
You
is
know
true.
it.
That's true. My bad. That is the
And
last two.
that's
That is true.
but
That's
that's
true.
also three. And well, let's be real. Y'all can't touch me with deliveries. I'm calling everybody out. Bring it.
Oh, I don't know, bro. Derwin, man. Derwin's livery last
Oh,
race was
he can
fire.
bring it too.
Yeah.
Trust me, I got Santa souped up sled ready.
Okay. That's so bad, bro. What you got for us, man?
But
Talk
all
on.
right, so let me get to the notes here.
Okay.
So I got one for you, Jay.
Okay. Okay.
We did this a couple years ago. Who you got for best rookie this season coming up?
Jeez,
I got
man.
five
I'm gonna go.
rookies. We got Oliver Behrman at Haas, Kimmy
Yeah.
at Merck,
Right.
Jack Doohan at Alpine, Isaac Hadjar at VCarb, and Bortoletto going to Sauber. Me
Nah,
personally, I'm
bro.
taking Oliver
I'm
Behrman. I'm
taking.
going
I was
tried
about to
and
say,
proven.
bro. I'm on Behrman. I'm on
All
Behrman,
right.
bro. I
Okay.
like Behrman. I don't
But
even Bartoletto. I'm like and
I'm gonna give I'm gonna give
Jack. I got to see a little bit more from him, but then again, you got to take in the count the team. So yeah, I go with Behrman. Antonelli, man. I know he was doing. I just not really
I
sold on
think.
Antonelli yet, bro. I ain't really sold on Antonelli yet. I just think I need to see a bit more. I still think, I think
Hmm.
in a small window of seeing what they saw, people were like, wow. But if you step back and like see a bigger picture, you're like, damn, this motherfucker can't draw. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah.
I think that's what it's gonna
I
be like,
mean,
bro.
honestly, the way I'm looking at it right now, I'm saying top two that may be fighting for that rookie of the year might be between Antonelli and Behrman because of
Okay,
looking
I
at
can go with that.
how those two were in F2. They were very
They were
closely
very
on each
competitive.
other. They were also teammates, so they know
Yeah,
what each other is capable
they
of
know the
to an
nuances
extent.
of each other. True.
The only difference is going to be the constructor. But Haas seems to be on a good path of getting their shit straight again. So that
Oh, and Hadjar,
might
I just don't think he's gonna be with a good team. I don't think
I
his
don't
team gonna be
I
good enough for him to even
I
show
don't
anything
think
if he could show it. You
I don't
know?
think he's I think he gonna get I think Yuki gonna cook him too.
Yeah,
Just like
yeah,
everybody else. I think Yuki's gonna cook him.
yeah. I
But
don't think he. I don't think Hadjar. I mean, I don't think. I think Hadjar's gonna be the same situation that it has been with Yuki this whole
every
time,
time.
and I don't even know if, as they call them the racing bulls now, is gonna make a step forward to even. I think Yuki will do better with a lesser team next season than Hadjar will do with a team that's a lesser version of themselves next season. Is what I think.
Agreed.
That's what I
Now,
feel.
remember how I keep and I know I keep going back to this when I say deja vu has a way of swinging around all the time, right?
True.
So peep this, and this came up after Abu Dhabi. In Hamilton's last race with McLaren,
Hmm.
2012, mind you, 12 years ago. Get this. The Red Bull's multiple world champion, i.e., Seb, spun on the opening lap of the race. What happened in
Max
Abu
spun
Dhabi
in the
this year?
opening lap of the race and hit
All
Oscar
right.
Piastri.
Now, all right, now you track it, right? Watch
I'm
this.
tracking. I'm tracking.
Sergio Perez retired on the opening lap of the race in 2012. What happened again this time? Same thing.
Same thing.
Now, watch this. British driver wins for McLaren, and that was Jenson Button. This time it's Lando
It's
Norris.
Lando Norris.
All right. Now, a Spanish driver takes P2 in a Ferrari.
Oh,
Carlos
Carlos
Sainz.
Sainz.
Yep. Now, the other Ferrari was also on the podium. It was Massa back then. This time it's Leclerc.
Leclerc.
And then a Williams also retired. It was
It
Maldonado
was
and Senna back then.
That's
Or, yeah,
crazy.
Maldonado and I guess Senna's kid.
And then this
And
time,
this time it was Colapinto.
Colapinto.
And then get this, a Sauber retired back then, which was Perez driving.
Valtteri.
This time it was
It's Valtteri.
Bottas.
Oh shit, bro.
Deja
Yo,
vu.
brother, you have the knack of finding some of the weirdest damn parallels in different universes ever, bro. That was good. That was interesting as hell.
I mean,
That
the
was
writing's
interesting, bro. He
the
always
writing
does
is
this.
on the wall. Racer X just said it clean cut, clear and dry. I've been saying it for forever. Leclerc wants to learn from Lewis. Why? Because he knows his driving style mimics Lewis's driving style. They both like the same thing out the car. So you give the same two drivers in the same team the exact same thing, you got two wild dogs that all you gotta do is set them free and let them eat.
Let him eat.
Lewis is gonna
Damn.
run it up with Ferrari. But now here's a funny one I got for you.
Go ahead.
GM, Cadillac, Andretti, whatever they gonna call the team. We don't even know the official team name yet, but we know who all's involved in it.
Hmm.
But we don't know anything about potential drivers. Rumors have been running around. Two veteran drivers may be making a revenge tour comeback with that
That's
team,
crazy though, man.
i.e., last of the late breaking drivers, Danny Rick and Checo at that team.
That's what I
That's
think.
two good, strong veterans that know what they're doing.
Yes. I'll take
That
Checo.
would get that team in a decent spot
Danny Rick, bro.
starting out.
I can't. I don't know about Danny Rick, man. I don't know if he
I, I'm,
got it
I'm
in him,
not gonna.
man.
I will
I ain't
say
writing him off, but I'm sitting
I'm
to
not
the
gonna write
side,
him
man.
off. I'm not gonna
Right.
say he's past his peak, but Danny Rick's technical knowledge of the car
Okay.
is where he's gonna be able to give a lot of feedback because Danny Rick As we saw when he was paired with Max with the same machinery, Max likes a lot of front end, which means
Yeah,
the Red Bull has to be very, very good on the brakes. Hence, Danny Rick
asymmetric
could do
braking.
that late braking, all those late braking maneuvers all the time. He likes going late on the brakes. So, that's your front end tech expert right there building that car. But what is Perez like? A lot of understeer in
Yeah,
his
I was about to say
cars.
Perez don't like that. He like
So,
understeer.
you've got a driver that prefers front end, but you also got a driver that prefers understeer.
Hmm.
So the two together, that's a lot of experience from the driver standpoint of building a complete car that can offer up giving a strong front end for what the driver needs or a good balanced rear end, which is gonna give you understeer, but in the long term, if that driver knows how to fully exploit it, that driver's gonna be absolutely rapid, even with an understeering car.
Okay.
So they got a good that I kind of like where they're going with that setup. But what do you think about them team switches? These drivers switching around, Sainz to Williams,
I'm cool with that. I'm
Nico
cool.
going to
I'm cool.
Sauber.
I'm cool with that.
But now here's the writing on the wall. We all know Russell's got a contract with Merck, right? And
Hmm.
Antonelli's just coming in.
Hmm.
Why did Merck go and
And
hunt down
Valtteri.
Bottas for
Yeah.
that reserve spot?
Reserve driver seat. Right.
Toto
I,
knows something we don't.
right. And I was just gonna say I think it's
And
one
I
of two
got the
things.
feeling,
It's either he's got a sense through some conversations that Russell is likely to bounce, or he knows Antonelli's not everything he's being hyped up to be, and he's gonna need somebody to sit that's solid in a Mercedes seat that's been in a Mercedes seat, but not in this type of
bingo.
Mercedes era. So yeah,
And the
that's
thing is,
very good.
Valtteri coming in, Valtteri ain't been gone long enough to forget how that team flows.
The team, but that car is totally
And
a horrible situation right now.
the car is a whole damn just absolute shit show
Right.
in a trash can. But Valtteri, when it comes to Merck, we all know Valtteri is when next to Lewis, he was always Mr. Reliable. When Lewis was down, Valtteri had his back. But when
Right.
Lewis was up, Valtteri was right there behind Lewis every single time. So, should George drop the ball and Kimmy's cooking him? Don't be surprised if Merck benches George and puts Valtteri in that car, or vice versa for Kimmy. Personally, I want to see Kimmy go ahead roast George, and then let's see George go cry about, oh, it was the car
Mm.
and it wasn't in a good window, and oh, go ahead get them tears in your eyes, Woody boy.
All right, Wildcat. We're gonna let Kenny B come back up, brother. Appreciate you calling in, man. Hey,
Yes,
man,
sir.
keep coming with those quirky facts, man. They're very fun and interesting, and you be on point with it. It's very, very. Hey, man, I'm gonna start calling you Mr. Deja Vu, man. That's gonna start being your new name is Mr. Deja Vu, man. All
All right,
right.
I'll take that.
All right, Wildcat is up, man. We got Kenny Bugs coming. Kenny Bugs says Red Bull and talks with Mark Webber. Damn, Mark Webber. What's up with that? Kenny Bugs, speak on that, brother, man.
You don't know who Mark is
Yeah, I know.
representing?
Yes, I know who Mark Webber is, man. Hell yeah, I know. I was been. He had a pretty bad. I think Mark Webber had a bad wreck in one of the Red Bull cars in one year. I thought that was Webber. Where the car just totally flipped up, went airborne. Was that not Webber?
Weber did that in at
What team was he with when
at
that happened?
he did that in a Mercedes, didn't he?
Damn, I don't know, bro. I think I had to look at it, but I do
Yeah, that
remember he
was
was in a bad accident though.
France.
See, I'm about to say you the historian, brother, so you should be able to pinpoint
World
it.
Endurance. World Endurance.
Yeah, it was a
Come
bad
on,
wreck
come
though,
on,
bro.
come on, the famous race, the Triple Crown.
Bro, you talking about Le Mans?
Yes.
Yes.
It was it was a Le Mans style car, but it was at uh,
Yeah, it was the European Grand Prix Mark Webber. Yeah, it was in a Red Bull. That's what I thought. 2010 European Grand Prix Mark Webber, the flying crash. That's what I thought. It was in a Red Bull.
oh,
Yeah.
was it Red Bull?
Yeah,
Okay,
bro. Man, bro, that wreck
because
was horrible, bro. I
the
mean, he literally
the
damn near, I
same
think he
thing,
flew over another car.
yeah, the same thing happened, but it happened at the Nürburgring, didn't it?
I don't remember that one. I don't recall that one.
Well, yeah,
I
there's
don't
a
recall what circuit it was, but I do remember it was a European Grand Prix and he
yeah.
was in that Red Bull. Hold on, Kenny Bugs. Mary Benny says my driver Anto, no, he was ass. Take doing, trust me. And Uno says, Xmas, everybody, blessing twins, everybody. Red Bull should never ignore Yuki Lawson. We gotta watch as Yuki will up the game, stronger role on next season. Well, that's what we was talking about. Uno, go ahead, Kenny B. By
Yeah.
the way, the people
Anyway,
loving you.
forget the rolling cars, the flipped over cars. Yeah, Weber is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How can I put it? He's hedging his bets
Oh,
with Piastri because,
there is
I mean, keep in mind, okay, what do you think the Red Bull is going to be like next year?
I think it's gonna be a lesser version of what it is right now.
It most certainly is
They're
because they
not
don't have the same people
because they
that
ain't got
are
the
in the
same
car.
power unit, right?
And well, no, they don't have the. Yeah, it does have the same power unit. It doesn't have the
Okay,
same
when
people.
Does Ford not come in 2025 or they come in 2026?
2026, Ford is coming in for
Okay,
electronics.
got you. Okay,
So
okay,
Ford is
that's also
coming
true.
in for the batteries and the MGUK. So that's the part that Ford is coming in
But
on.
that's a big ass part.
It is. What is it? 350 kilowatts or something like that.
Double. Hell yeah, it's up.
More than double because it was
It's up.
160 now. But anyway, so if the car is not up to par next year, Max is gone
Mm.
because they signed the old man to a new contract. I keep calling him old man because I always forget his name. I don't know why. But they signed him to a 1 year extension for next year in order to make sure that Max was going to be there for another year because he's got a contract to 2028, but he can back out at any minute
You talking about Helmut Marko, right?
if
Yeah,
Marco
because
walks.
there's a clause in there that if he were to leave, then Max could release earlier, or some stipulation in there between the two.
Right.
Correct.
Well, you know that Helmet put that clause in right after the start of the season.
No, I do know the
Yes,
timeline.
Helmet had the power to make changes to Max's contract. So he talked with Max and said, "Hey, let me put this clause in your contract. That way, if Christian try anything, you can walk too." And Max was
Damn.
like, "Yeah, I like that." That's why that. So that's the power struggle going back and forth
Back and forth
between
between the two you were talking about earlier.
Helmet and Marco. So the minute that man died, Christian had it in his mind, "Hey, I want the same kind of power that Toto got. I want part ownership." And he
Mm.
started making his moves because he had to deal with Matishaw's son, who owns 49% of the company. All right, the Thai family owns 51%. They got controlling interest, but so yeah, that's all power moves. Either way, he's trying to hedge his bets because Christian Horner needs to have a backup plan if Max leaves.
Okay.
Okay, and Piastri is in a power struggle with Norris, who's the number one driver. What are we doing here? They got to keep battling each other out. Okay,
Right.
so usually each team has a number one and a number two driver,
Right.
for a
Not a
reason. So
one
they
A,
don't
one
have to
B.
make a choice.
Right.
Okay,
That's true.
Uh,
To
exactly.
some, to regardless of how large the margin of
You
talent
don't want
is,
that
you're
margin
right.
to be too
Right.
big. You want
Right.
them to be
Right. You want them to be right,
right.
but not so close that you got this quandary that you're about to probably have at McLaren.
Right. I don't think McLaren is going to drop the ball on this. I think that they'll be able to keep Piastri, but never say never. It could happen. But and one of the other reasons why everybody is catching up to caught up to Red Bull. McLaren was the first one to get smart and change their front suspension to a pull rod because it made the air more consistently going into the intakes to the floor. Okay, Mercedes couldn't do it this year because they had to change the gearbox and the rear suspension so that they could clear the air coming out of the diffuser. And that's why they went to from a pull rod in the back to a push rod in the back. So that and of course they'd already committed to changing the chassis to
Right.
for Lewis, moving his seat back. So you change the chassis, you change the gearbox, you change the rear suspension. They were out of money. They couldn't change the front suspension to a pull rod yet. They're gonna do that this year coming next year.
Okay.
and that's gonna open up their window a little more and give
Okay.
them a more stable car, setup wise, where the problems that Lewis had, where 1 minute it's in the window and the next minute it's out. Well, no, some of that had to do with sabotage and all kinds of other little stuff too. But still, the car had a narrow setup window,
You did.
and going to a pull rod in the front is going to make that more stable. Well, guess what? So is Ferrari. Ferrari's going to a pull rod next year too. And the thing is, Ferrari's got a faster car than the Red Bull is. Now, everybody's changing their cars. Ferrari already said they're changing 99% of the car.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm gonna take that with a grain of salt. They are changing the chassis and they're changing the front suspension. Okay, and they're always making changes to the floor. Okay, but the bottom line issue is they understand what they're doing with their car, and that's why it's up at the front with McLaren. So
Okay.
Lewis is gonna be fine.
Okay.
Lewis is gonna be fine. Having that consistent setup window that
Setup
he can
window.
work with,
Right.
yeah, it's game over.
Right.
Because once he gets flowing, see, he gets aggravated when the car ain't doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. One weekend's here, next weekend's here. I mean, not even weekend, bro. We could just talk about the events within one weekend. The car's kind of all over the place.
Right. Okay, but once you give him a car with a stable platform, he starts playing with those switches. The next thing you know,
That's true.
he gets a rhythm, and that's it. That was the difference between him and his teammate, because
Russell.
Russell, yeah, because Russell can't keep that focus in a stable car. So when he moved up from Williams, which was a janky car that was all over the
Yeah.
place, he's used to dealing with all of the quirks
Chaos.
that
Right.
go on at the back, with a back of the grid car. Okay, so for him to get into a car that's at the front of towards the front of the grid, still dealing with those problems is not a problem for him. It doesn't. But at the same token, when he does get a stable car, he tends to lose focus. He can't keep his concentration, especially when he got pressure on him.
Pressure busts his pipes.
Okay, just like he sure did, because he had Lewis on his butt, and he was behind Norris at Singapore last year, and he followed Norris. Norris clipped that wall,
Russell
just barely touched it, and what did Russell do?
panked it.
Broke
Tore it
his
up.
front- Broke his front suspension. Okay,
Right.
so yeah, once Lewis believe this, all right, Fred don't feel he has to pick a number one driver at Ferrari because he knows, and he don't need to say it. Lewis is going to be up front.
Right.
We believe that.
Right. I
Lewis is
believe
going to
that.
be up front. The question is, in 2026 or 2027, where's Max going to be? And will Piastri take advantage, and Mark Webber take advantage of that? Oh, and by the way, for Racer X and the rookie drivers that are going to do well are the ones that are going to be in the better cars. I don't disagree with what he said about Bierman, because Haas is making great moves.
They are. They are.
So I don't disagree with what he's saying. But
Nah, that's why I like Behrman. Haas has made some turnaround for real, for sure. They made some turnaround. I'm not saying they gonna be top 5 next season,
they could be.
but I would
Okay.
like. I'm
You-
not saying
you
I would
add-
like because I ain't like Haas, but I wouldn't be
You add
surprised.
you add to changing their approach from worrying more about deals and focusing more on engineering,
And it,
okay, and being more efficient throughout all the different locations where your team is working, whether it
Right.
be Maranello or the States or England, and then next year you add all of the extra support they're getting from
Toyota, brother, right?
Okay, so now they're getting more wind tunnel advantages and stuff like that. Yeah, they could be top
It
5.
could be. It could. I'm not gonna speak. I'm gonna wait and see it because Haas got a funny way of, you know,
The whole mid pack is gonna be crazy.
crazy. That's what I do agree with. It's gonna be crazy.
Okay,
I do agree with that.
because Is Alpine going to the Mercedes engine next year, or is it 2026?
No, I thought it was next year. I thought it's next year they going. They
Okay,
dumping
okay.
that
Well, let's
whole
just say it is next year.
right. They
Okay,
should be
yeah.
better.
With them fixing their problems with coming in heavy, overweight, and other things, driver lineup where Ocon was acting stupid. Okay, and I mean you see how they just moved up towards the
They're
end of
gonna go 2026. They're not going next year. They're gonna go 2026.
but so even with a power disadvantage that they have now of like what is it 20 horsepower.
Yeah, that was just around approximately that.
Okay, and yet they still able to make changes to the car that moved them towards the front of the pack.
Yeah,
They
that's
scored
was
double
balling.
points the way they did, double podiums.
Yeah,
Okay,
I,
you,
I I I get that one, but I don't buy full in that one. It was a lot of there was. I mean, it always happens in racing, but there was a lot of things in there that kind of put them in a right
yeah,
time,
but
right
not
spot,
just
right
that,
moment.
not just
But
that.
after that, I give
After that,
all merit to
you found,
Gasly.
but
Without
see that the whole second half of the
right,
season, you saw Gasly in the
that's what
points
I was
because
about to
he
say.
had the
After that,
changes.
Gasly's merit, I give it all to him because that was all on merit. What Gasly was able to do in the
Well, no,
Alpine
no, no. What
career.
I'm saying is he got all of the upgrades,
Yes, he did. You're right
and
because
that's
they
why
were
he moved up at the end of the season.
right, and that's why I'm saying they were productive toward the back half of the season. Gasly was in there, so I give them all that on merit post that situation for real because they made those changes, they did those updates. Gasly was able to get in the car, and the shit looked different
Right.
all the way up until the end of the season. So now I want to see how they're gonna come into the season to see if that's gonna be a continuation, or are we just gonna be kind of looking at an admiration that kind of happened and it just really is not. It's
Well, there you
dwindled
go.
away.
You got RB, you got Alpine, and you got Haas fighting it out in the midfield, trying to catch up to Aston Martin.
That's gonna be
Come
crazy
on.
too. That's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be good.
Oh,
It's gonna be
and
nice.
Williams,
It's
and
gonna be
Williams,
crazy. Yeah,
and
and
Williams.
Williams. Don't count them out. It's gonna be nice. It's
I
gonna
don't
be
know what
nice.
I don't know what to say
I ain't
about
worried
RB.
about Sauber. That I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
don't know
nothing
what to
gonna
say
happen.
about them.
Yeah. He said, I don't know what to say. All right, Kenny Bros, hold on. Let me get Mr. Deja Vu up here, brother, man.
All
Hey,
right.
man, and if I don't speak again, Merry Christmas, Happy
Oh, Merry
Holidays to you,
Christmas
brother.
to you too, and everybody else. Mary, get your laptop fixed. Hurry up.
Sylvia Wick Keller says, Happy holidays to my driver racing X210. Mary Beanie says, Woody with Red Bull and Max Verstappen with Shady Toto Kenny B soon. We got Mr. Deja Vu coming and up here, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to close out right here. Mr. Deja Vu, speak to me, man, because I'm about to get ready to go and give me a little something to eat real quick. What you got, brother, man?
All right, so Kenny B did throw out a fun fact that I didn't really think about till then. I kind of forgot about it honestly, but
He does
Mark
that too.
Webber currently is Oscar Piastri's manager.
Yeah, 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 facts.
Now, everybody, every time you hear in the commentary, you always hear how Oscar's so just relaxed in the car. He don't flip out. He's
No,
never emotional. But
ice in his veins.
what do you hear out of Lando? Constantly flipping out, getting
All
emotional,
over the
losing his
place.
cool, losing focus.
True.
Now, the funny thing is, where does Weber get that experience from? Who did Weber have to fight with and maintain cool with, dealing
Come
with?
on, man. All you
Weber
know,
got cooked by Vettel multiple
he
times,
was in with the
multiple years.
Bulls. There you go.
But guess what? Weber took on Oscar to say, hey, let's get you in that same headspace. So, from that standpoint, Oscar don't need to move from McLaren. Stay right there. Because if McLaren's trying to invest this much to boost up Lando Norris, go ahead and bust his damn head wide open. I'm talking McLaren battle of old renewed. This is this
Bernie Mac.
this driver pairing is a Senna and Prost 2.0.
Bro, you
You've
think it's
got
gonna be
two
something like
drivers.
that? You
You've
think it's gonna
got
be
two
something like
drivers
that?
that let's be honest. If it weren't for team orders, you've got two drivers that are very unyielding but very skilled, very quick,
True.
but they are very good defensively as well. They are very solid.
True.
Both these drivers, if McLaren ever actually gets the strategy right and stop doing old Ferrari methods, that team could quite literally do a few back-to-back world titles, drivers and constructors
Ooh.
together.
Yeah, bro, that might be crazy.
And I mean, they could literally probably say, "Hey, yo, Oscar, you want to take it this season? All right, cool, I got it. Yo, Lando, you want it next season? All right, yeah, I got it." And just
Man,
switch
bro,
back and
calm down.
forth.
Hold up, Wildcat. You
I'm
acting
being
like they just gonna
serious.
come in here and call the shot every which way it go, brother. Like they ain't got to worry about
I'm just
Ferrari. Racer
saying.
X2 King he gonna have something to say to you about this, brother, man. You
Oh,
acting like
I'm not knocking. I'm not knocking what Ferrari got going
right.
on because by at the end of the day, in my opinion, still, Ferrari got the two quickest drivers in one lap
Okay.
pace on the grid, and that's Lewis and Charles.
Lewis and Charles.
And
Okay.
nobody doubts that. Yeah, Max can put in these amazing pole laps
Yeah, yeah, he
with,
can.
Hail Mary, luck of the draw, sector 1 or sector 3 that gets him on pole.
Okay.
But let's not forget, Charles and Lewis can cook and throw up three purple sectors for that final lap and stick it on pole.
All right.
Now, as far
No
as the
debate there.
Haas and Toyota thing, yeah, Kenny, I see your point. You right. You kind of got a point there, but I still think Oscar gonna be that man next year as far as the
Okay.
rookies. Reason being, what do Merck and Red Bull, some of these higher up teams have that some of the lower teams don't? They got a deeper racing heritage. They got other
And
connections outside
McLaren.
of
Right.
Formula One that race that have to use wind tunnels and rely on a lot of aerodynamic data. Haas stepped up because Toyota came in. The very second Toyota came in, Haas turned around. But why is that? Where is Toyota
Actually, I
racing?
don't want to. I don't want to take any credit away from Kometsu, man, because he came in and
No,
he did make some turnaround before we heard about Toyota. Like I think he changed the culture a bit in the communication with Gene Haas to make Gene Haas understand that like certain things need to be done if you really want to stay in Formula One and you want to start looking competitive in Formula One. So I don't want to take any credit
this
away
is
from that
true.
man.
This is true. But here's the funny thing. Ferrari got that ground effect car together
Hmm.
when the WEC team started pushing it out there and cranking it out. Where's Ferrari getting all this extra suspension data from? All the extra wind tunnel time? What's the closest car you can get that has close to the same amount of grip as an F1 car? A Lamar prototype in the WEC. Look at the Porsche 9, what was it? The Porsche 991, then the Porsche 919 or whatever that they built. It was an unrestricted car. They pretty much built this thing to see how fast it goes. Took it to Spa and absolutely roasted the W11's pole lap time. The W11, the fastest Formula One car ever built, they roasted it with a Lamar prototype built car. So if these prototypes can do the same as an F1 car, grip wise, based on suspension and aerodynamics, Toyota comes in. Let's give Komatsu that extra data he needs. Let's get that suspension hooked up on the Haas. Let's get this aerodynamic package in the right direction. Now Haas is turning around because they getting that extra data feed that they've been lacking, that teams like Aston Martin have had for years from their long line of racing. Haas ain't gonna get it out of NASCAR. NASCAR don't rely that heavily
No, no, they don't
on that kind
that
of
heavy.
grip.
Not at all. Not no. Yeah,
So
not at all.
Haas needed an in some way. This is their in. So I
Okay.
foresee Haas. I'm not gonna knock and say Haas won't be a top five team starting next season.
Okay.
They very well could be.
Okay. All right, man. Appreciate you, Wildcat, my brother. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. As it's coming, brother. We gonna be back on
Yes,
before then
sir.
anyway. But hey, appreciate you. I'm gonna let Dillison is in the chat. Sylvia Witt Kelly, Merry Christmas, Jay, to you and the family. I hope everyone has a fantastic day with the family and friends. Love to all. Peace and love to you too, Sylvia Wick, and your family and everybody around on the across the pond, the family over that way. Dillison says Norris is a bad investment for me for the future, but Pia needs to get better in Americans. He was bad last and this year, but he is better. That's fair. He did have some struggles. Racer X210 says Merry Christmas to all my wolves. Have a safe holiday fun because the F1 2025 will be here soon, and then it's race time. Now I am going to say this. I am going to say just in response to also or in combination with what Wildcat just said about Haas and Toyota. I I, I see where he's going with the floor sharing of information. Although I'm not sure it's going to be an apples for apples comparison. It's going to be drastically different, but where the benefit is the data collection process. Toyota's ability to gather data, to extrapolate points, and then configure that data into a real update that will then become an upgrade. I think that's what they're going to get. The process of getting this information, pulling it out, analyzing it, rearranging it, building something that is in relation to that, and then putting it on track to turn an update into an upgrade. I think that's what they will get from that, because I'm pretty sure functionally the floors in that car and this car are different, and you can't just, it won't be an even swap like, okay, we did this over here, we're just gonna bring it over here and fix it. It's just, I think it's just too different. But the processes of getting that information is what I think Wildcat is also getting to, or at least what I'll say from myself, from my opinion. I don't want to speak for my brother, he spoke for himself, but this is what I really think is probably the benefit, not so much that we done this here and it's going to work for you and we're just going to bring it over there and then you're going to be in there. So listen, man, this is an F1 minute. I had to come spend some time with you all, and I am very, very glad I did. I want you all to have a happy, Merry Christmas Eve. I will have to be doing around and about. I'm going to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to be moving and grooving, but I want you all to have a good Christmas Eve. I want you all to have a very good Christmas, and I will be speaking to you soon. I will see you all soon again, and peace and love to you all. And Mr. Deja Vu, Kenny Bugs, Thillison, everybody that came up, yo, thanks for participating as always, and I hope to have more of you 2025 participating in the F1 Minute. Mary Beanie says she's got a laptop, so we're going to see how that goes. All right. Big shout out to you all. Peace and love. I will see you soon. Wolfpack is out. Let's go.